Bears rookie minicamp. We were out on a practice field today. The sun was shining. It was beautiful. We're going to recap it all for you right now on the CHGO Bears Podcast. Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast. Happy Friday to Bears fans all over the world watching this show. Adam Hogue and Mark Carmen with you after being out on the practice field at Halas Hall for the first time in a while. Mark, I know you've been counting down the days to get back out there.
I absolutely have, Adam, and thank you for underlining that. Good to see you and everybody. It was fun to be out there today. I would like to start this Friday podcast asking the question, soft or not soft? Adam Hogue came out to practice today, and he was wearing long underwear, and it is, by my count, May the 9th and 50-some-odd degrees. Hogue, you lean on to you're prepared because that wind can get nasty off the lake even in May. But I think we should have a big topic here, soft or not soft for Hogue on a Friday in rookie minicamp. Like, I did not realize that my handy-dandy trusty podcast partner would go to such levels, and quite frankly, I'm a little bit nervous about you after this iteration.
Yeah, I mean, I soft or not soft. I think it's just prepared.
Prepared or not prepared, over-prepared, unprepared, failing to prepare, preparing to fail. You were ready, buddy. All I know is that you had the walk going today. You had some great questions today. Hogue was on his A game. It was almost like you targeted this day in the 2025 year to come ready.
So, look, you got to know, and now we have a Pope that knows this too, because he's a Chicagoan, and you should know this too, Carm. You grew up relatively close to the lake. There's this thing called lake effect.
Yeah.
And from where I live to where Halas Hall is, proving you wrong, it is 10 degrees warmer where I'm at right now than where I just came from. And the real feel in Lake Forest when I left my house was 42 degrees. Last time I checked, 42 degrees, not warm. So, I mean, I was out there in a winter coat. I was wearing a vest in this hoodie.
Crystal, Dawson, I missed just one. They're all calling you soft. And I mean, I feel a little Sandman Slim.
Yeah. Guess what? You're all dumb. Enjoy being cold. One of the dumbest things you can be in life. Cold. Just put one layer on. It's common sense. It's not soft. It's called being comfortable.
New segment, Carmen Sense, coming up today. Now we might have to add in Carmen Tough. We
need a new sponsor because you're clearly not making any sense today.
Carmen Tough, Hogue Soft. Hey, Sherman, we got a spot for you. Chris Panko, dial it up. Let's go. No, I didn't mean to throw you under the bus here, but I was amazed. Hogue was definitely, you were the only reporter that had long underwear on today, which could elevate.
What, did you inspect everybody?
I did talk to a lot of people today. Is anybody wearing long underwear? You got a long underwear? Patrick Finley gave me the weird look. It was a thing.
Well, you know what? Then Pat Norton, not soft, because he was out there in short sleeves. Probably cold as hell and just not admitting it.
Norton was the toughest media guy today. No short sleeves, looking around, taking great pictures, doing the job. Okay, this is probably not why everybody tuned in today, but it was.
If we are going to get sidetracked by a media conversation to start the show, the real conversation should be, why is there 50 media members out there for rookie minicamp practice? Like, I realize there's not a lot going on right now, but there'll be 3 reporters at the White Sox game tonight, and they actually have a game.
It literally was. It felt like the Bears were coming off a Super Bowl, and or they had drafted Caleb Williams. It was last year, and everybody just needed to see him, not the whoever we were watching today. I mean, it was. I love
first
seeing,
round pick's not even practicing.
Yeah, I mean, Colston Loveland's got a shoulder, but he was there. But, all for Ruben Hippolyte and Luke Newman and Luther Burden, of course, Shermar Turner. Hey, we need something to talk about. Bears come to the rescue, and the media definitely was represented in a way that was a lot more than a 5-win team last year. That's for sure.
It's just an insane amount of people out there today, which is fine. It's a Bears town, clearly. All right. Well, we haven't done one of these in a while, but a post-practice recap show. We always like to tell you the best and worst thing we saw out there on the practice field. We will jump into that right now on the CHGO Bears podcast. And my best is I wasn't sure what to expect from Colston Loveland today. Obviously, I knew he wasn't going to practice because he's still recovering from that shoulder. But I was encouraged to see him out there, dressed, with his practice jersey on, his helmet on. Now, he didn't do anything, don't get me wrong, but he was clearly in practice mode, staying loose, taking mental reps. We always hear that, like mental reps. I see people say, yeah, I'm taking mental reps, and then they're screwing around on the sideline instead. He was locked in. Like, you can actually see him sort of physically moving to the mental reps on the sideline. So I did like seeing that from the Bears' first-round pick, who obviously cannot practice yet and probably won't during OTAs and minicamp, just so you guys have those expectations. But the hope is that he'll be good to go for training camp. And he did say in his press conference today that he also hopes, and the plan is for him to go travel with Caleb and the receivers during that off period in July when they'll go run routes and work out. So that's encouraging too, that maybe even if he's not fully cleared by then, he'll be, at least good to go for that. We'll have a little bit more from Colston Loveland here in a little bit too on what he can and cannot do at this point. My worst, Carm, and I'm not making a big deal out of this because this is another guy who was a little banged up during the pre-draft process, and we weren't even sure if he would be full go for this rookie minicamp, but he was cleared to participate. Although I couldn't help but notice that Shermar Turner was like completely out of breath after the first period. He was already hunched over, gas. Now, again, not really a criticism because he hasn't been able to do a whole lot out there. I did ask him after practice, like, where his strength and conditioning's at, and he admitted, like, yeah, not where I want it right now. So, and this wasn't Eddie Goldman being like basically taken off the field at his first rookie minicamp practice with dehydration. It wasn't to that levels, but I noticed it right away. Shermar Turner, on a day where there's not a lot of things that could go wrong, was completely gassed very early on in practice.
Well, this was another moment in practice day where Hogue just showed he was on his A game. You noticed it, you pointed it out, then I started watching it, and then Shermar Turner, this is the deep dives we do on the CHGO Bears podcast. He drank more water after 3 minutes being on that field than like somebody would do after running a marathon. He was going after it, but I'm sure he'll be fine. And his enthusiasm is noteworthy. Which I guess if you want, should I jump in here, Hogue, on my best and worst? All right. And so the best part for me was the actual rookie enthusiasm today. Apparently, I saw the video. Shermar was offered a golf ride to the practice field. He's like, no. I'm walking on by. I want to soak this in as I make my way to the football field as an NFL player for the first time. These moments need to be celebrated, man. You worked your whole life, and now you're here, and you get to wear a jersey, and you get to run out there. So there was just, I thought the coaching staff, in the way they were going about their business today, there was just a ton of energy there. Azie Trapilo, no shock to anyone. He was all smiles, Mr. Excited. So just the pure enthusiasm that, we are moving towards football being back, or if you even want to call it football was back today as far as, practicing and all that, Bears rookie minicamp. I just enjoyed the newness that the Bears feel like right now. Now, more importantly, we got a major issue we have to tackle here for my worst of the day. And that came from Luther Burden. And he was asked about why he chose number 87, which is what he's wearing. and he said all the good numbers were gone. And
Yeah.
Hogue, you went out there and took it to the next level and tweeted it at Tom Waddle, which was a great job by you. And Waddle responded.
It's disrespectful.
Yeah, it is. And listen, I love Tom Waddle. Great Bear, great competitor, all the things. But look, the Bears don't exactly have a ton of NFL championships. One of the grittiest players in the history of football wore 87, and that would be my guy, Ed Obradovich, who I did postgame with, along with Hogue, for 7 years at WGN. It's a knock on OB, and into my childhood. The tight end on the 85 Bears, 87, Emery Moorhead, class act. He caught balls from Jim McMahon. He blocked for Walter Payton. This 87 shade, come on, Luther. It's not a bad number. Waddle, and then go down the list. Muhsin Muhammad, wore it as well, if you want to go more recent. This 87 slander will not stand. So there was nothing bad from practice today. So I had to pick out something that was a little bit off the beaten path. And so we go with the 87 situation. That was unfortunate.
Yeah. Also wore 87. Adam Shaheen wore 87.
See, you didn't need to do the Shaheens. You didn't need to mention who else was in there that I noticed. Jesper Horsted, I believe, wore it.
Yeah.
We don't need to mention Horsted.
We do.
Do we? I mean, I just did. Some old school Bears fans, you might remember a Harlan Hill, a Billy Newsome. What about a Justin Gage? He had the number. There you go you might remember
Ricky
that.
Prohl. Did you say Ricky Prohl?
I didn't. But this, come on, 87. That's not a bad number. It's a good number.
The last Bear to wear number 87?
The last
Tommy Sweeney.
Yeah. Tommy Sweeney. Not a great Bear, but a Bear. Tommy Sweeney didn't complain about 87. I'll throw.
See, I think there's an opportunity, though. Here's my advice to Luther Burden on this one: embrace 87. Don't change the number. There's a lot of opportunity here to own 87. There's not a lot of numbers left. The Bears have retired basically every number there is. So, make it your own.
Yeah, and he wore 3 at Missouri. Anybody want to riddle me who's number 3 on the Bears right now? Because I'm sure Gary Ross knows. Who is the Chicago Bear number 3? I should know that before I brought this up.
Is that one of the ones that's retired? One of the 800 numbers retired?
That's probably an 800 number.
That's Bronco Nagurski, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Bronco Nagurski. Correct. Whatever. He played for the Bears from 30 to 43.
But thank you for proving my point, though. Like, I'm not going back on this rant again, but I guess I am. All right, let's move on from the number talk. Arm, close the wiki tab. Come on, Craig Leach says it. It's Karmapedia.
Hey, settle down, Leach. Appreciate the 20
it's
bucks.
The version of Wikipedia where Carm gives no credit. Karmapedia.
My bad. Who do I need to give credit to? Whoever wrote down the Bears numbers. Credit to you. Thank you so much.
All right.
I give it to Gary Ross. He's our numbers guy around here. Dude loves a good number.
All right. Well, there was some good stuff from practice today. Let's do this real quick. Well, no, we got Carmen Sense coming up. Carmen's just completely hijacked the first 30 minutes of the show is what's happening. All right, let's get to Ben Johnson. Today was his first practice as a Bear, and I thought it was interesting, Carmen, that he called this coach orientation too, on top of rookie orientation. Being humble about the fact coaches got to work this stuff out too. First time out there on the field in I guess what we call it's half of a real practice. I thought this was interesting, though, what Ben Johnson had to say about what's been installed and not installed at this point. Remember, they've been in the building having meetings, strength and conditioning, all types of stuff, but they've yet to actually get out on the field for a real, what they call OTA practice that they're allowed to have. So here's what Ben Johnson had to say about what's been installed so far in his offense.
We're not earning jobs here this springtime. what I would like to see offensively, it's not just for the O-line, but we're still trying to comprehend this system. There's a lot. We've taught a big picture view really over the last few weeks. We haven't even formally installed a specific play and a formation all at once yet. We'll do that once we get to OTAs. So there's a lot that's going on in everyone's head right now. We've been focused, particularly in that room, about our fundamentals. What does a triple look like when we're working with the tight end? What's it going to look like on a drive block? When we're pulling, what do we want that to look like? And so that's been our focus. I really don't want to get too much into depth of what that personnel is going to look like. We just simply don't know. We'll find that out when we get pads on. You can't climb the depth chart in the springtime, particularly on O-line and D-line, if we don't have the pads on.
So I found that interesting, Carmen. They're not even installing plays yet, or even formations. They're just, really in the basics of techniques and kind of breaking things into 2 or 3 players at a time rather than even, putting a whole play together.
Well, right in front of us, we saw the D-line working on literally how they're going to line up, and the coaching was flat.
How high their ass is in the air.
Exactly. How they want to flat back the apple, as they were saying. It should be able to roll down. It should be able to sit flat on your back. So they were that feels like high school, right? This is how your form should be. Let's make it as perfect as possible, because that's going to help you have success on the field. So, look, it's rookie minicamp. It's May the 9th. I think everything you said there makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, I agree. So, just wanted to share that from Ben Johnson off the start. And just if you're wondering kind of how rookie minicamp works, I mean, they simulated somewhat of a normal working day. So they all got in yesterday. They installed some stuff that they're going to use in practice today. I do want to point out that they didn't do anything beyond 7-on-7 today. I don't know if that's going to change tomorrow or if they'll even get the full team stuff. Remember, the majority of the players out there aren't even signed to a contract or trade. You have your draft picks, your undrafted free agents, and then a bunch of tryout guys. So you're only going to do so much. And the majority of practice today was more individual positional group work than anything else. Small special teams period as well. But they'll get into the corrections after practice, and then they'll have a walkthrough later today, install some more stuff for tomorrow, and get back at it. So that's kind of how things are working this weekend. Ben Johnson did say that the tempo is slower right now than normal too, because they're trying to be smart with some of these guys. I mentioned Shermar Turner, somewhat half kidding about the conditioning level, but in all seriousness, you don't want to have anything bad happen because the guy's not fully ready to go, pushing at 100%. So they are being careful of these guys kind of going at a slower pace right now. All right, we'll take our first time out. We got more coming up. Our Carmen Sense segment coming up next. We're going to talk about Azie Trapilo, who continues to be an impressive young player. I mean, in terms of, I feel like first impressions with Ozzy Trapilo have been pretty good. So we'll talk about that coming up next. But first, what is Sunnyside? Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. You know that. It's your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside is everything you need to elevate your summer. It's your one-stop shop for all your cannabis needs. Sunnyside has an expertly curated menu with over 100 strains to choose from, plus easy online ordering and in-store pickup. Sunnyside is Illinois' favorite dispensary with locations in the city, Wrigleyville and River North, out to the suburbs. And if you're just starting out, Sunnyside, they have expert guidance in brands we know you'll love, like Good News and Mindy. So go visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders.
And a shout out to our friends at Game Time Tickets. If you want to get tickets to Cubs, White Sox, Game Time's making it faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually do go down before you get close to the first pitch. Killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, lowest price guarantee, Game Time, taking the guesswork out of buying your Major League Baseball tickets. And yeah, look, you could save up to 60%. You can choose a zone deal where, hey, you don't know the exact seat that you're sitting in, but you know the section, and they give you even better pricing. That is sweet. All the good things coming for you. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create that account, use that redeem code CHGO, $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed.
All right, our next segment is called Carmen Sense, and it is brought to you by Rate.com. Download the Rate app. Keep both your wallet and your well-being happy. Do it right now. Go download that Rate app, available in your app stores. Check it out. Set up an account. Really appreciate it. And then this is where Carm gives you his unique sense of reality. What is working? What is not working? How does it all add up? Again, brought to you by Rate.com. Carmen Sense. Whereas Carm claims everything makes more sense once you truly think about it.
Thank you. And for the record, I was on the Rate app last night at about 1:30 in the morning because I couldn't sleep, and I put on the sleep mechanism. I had whales coming at me, just calming me down. Ooh. Then I was in the forest and all these good things. And then I was doing some breathing exercise with the meditation. The Rate app is a sweet app. Download it.
Was this after you went to Sunnyside?
Well, actually, no, but that's a great combination that you just dialed up. I have another shout out that we'll do another time. But yeah, Sunnyside is, God bless Sunnyside. Sunnyside combined with the Rate app, there's nothing better than that. All right, let's get into this. Look, to me, the most interesting thing about practice today was listening to Azie Trapillo talk about his process as far as left and right tackle, okay? This is the biggest question for me going into training camp. How are they going to solidify their offensive line? What's it going to look like? And Azie let us in on the fact that he has been working on his footwork on both sides for a long time because he wants to get on the field as quick as possible. So after the season, wrapping up at BC, he was working more as a left tackle than a right tackle to make sure that was just as strong as his right tackle footwork. So, the great ones out there, RIP, my man Kobe, you make your weakness your strength. And that's what this guy's been going about doing so he can be as good of a left tackle as possible. And when you think about it and you try to make Carmen sense, what works, moving Darnell Wright, which has been floated, who has been a good right tackle, but not an elite right tackle, moving him to create competition at that spot versus letting Azie Trapillo settle in as quick as possible, bringing Braxton Jones back when he's healthy, and having our guy Karan Amagaji compete. To me, it makes a whole lot more sense to leave well enough alone on the right tackle spot. Let Azie continue to settle in here. Maybe he's the best guy forward. Maybe it's to go back to Braxton. That would be my bet. But as far as what makes Carmen sense to me when you look at that offensive line, the more I think about it, Azie Trapillo playing every day at left tackle going forward here, settling into that and seeing if he could beat out Braxton and Karan, that makes the most Carmen sense.
Well, I definitely think that makes sense right now, for sure. And let's see how it all plays out. Azie told the story today. He was asked about why he had to move to right tackle at Boston College, because remember, he started at left tackle, moved to right. So he was asked about that today, and here's that story.
It was we didn't have a great year in 2022. So new O-line coach Applebaum comes back. He knows something has to change. We get Christian Mahogany back that following year. So in a way, he was saying, me and Christian next to each other could be really beneficial for the offense. There was a lot more that went into it, but that was sort of the basis. And he asked, we looked at both sides. He said, "What do you think?" I said, "Obviously, wherever you want me." So he threw it out there. We did a couple spring practices with it, and then they ended up liking it. We're just making sure throughout the season that both sides were touched up. So after practice, getting extra reps at left. You never know if BC, if say the left tackle goes down, the next guy maybe feels more comfortable at right. I have to be able to do whatever. So just making sure I'm the most available that I can be at all times.
Well, and I'll point to part of the reason I asked Ozzy today about, so he's going. Again, they didn't really do full team stuff today, and they don't have pads on and all that stuff. But they had him, get in a stance, do the footwork. Well, you got to pick: is he doing it left or right? And he was doing a lot of it at left tackle with left tackle technique, and to my what I'll call untrained offensive line eye, Carm, I thought it looked pretty smooth and natural to him. So that's why I asked him after practice just about like if that was weird, if it felt natural to him. And that's where he kind of got that answer there from him being like, well, I would stay after practice at Boston College and I would work on it just in case. And then he did also add on that basically when the season ended and he started getting the pre-draft process, he spent a lot of time working on left tackle stuff because I think he had an inkling that he might be in this situation where he's actually now on an NFL practice field having to do it.
Well, and the question that I didn't get in today, and I should have with Ozzy, it's like he couldn't have come into a much better situation. I mean, I get it. The second round picks are expected to play or at least have a pretty good chance at playing, but he has a great chance at playing here. And the Bears need him. It would be enormous if Azie Trapillo could actually own the spot and be a starting left tackle day one and somebody that you didn't have to, throw a lot of help his way to make it sustainable for Caleb. So he's got a phenomenal opportunity in front of him. He's got a really tough challenge in front of him. Left tackle in the NFL, that ain't easy. But early opinions, if you will, he is very likable. The work ethic is clearly there. He would fit like a glove in that locker room as far as just a young guy with the mentality the Bears are looking for. So hopefully Ryan Poles hit a home run here with Azie Trapillo at number 56 overall. It would be a big deal for the Bears.
Yeah, and it's going to continue to be one of the bigger storylines of camp because, ideally you draft a guy in the second round. You want that guy to be a starter. And we'll see, I guess, where that continues to go for Azie Trapillo. But I think it's going to be super interesting. I know a lot of people have been asking if John's got a picture with Azie Trapillo today. Giant John's. I have no idea. But I agree that it needs to be done at some point. I will say this. He's massive. He really is. Like, I've seen big NFL offensive linemen. I've been around them, but the fact being 6'8", there is a considerable difference there. And I don't know how else to say this, but I was a little worried if it was going to be an awkward 6'8". Does that make sense? Like,
yep,
you're almost like too tall. And that could be a real thing. Once we start talking about offensive tackles that are 6'9" and stuff, it almost works against them. From a leverage standpoint, he's been very open and honest since the Bears drafted him that, that's one of the things he's got to worry about and work on his pad level because he is so tall. But first impressions today, I thought he looked smooth. I thought his footwork looked smooth. He looks massive, but not in an awkward, clunky way at all, which I was slightly worried about. So I think that is that's a very good sign for Azie Trapillo.
If you're going deep into the Bears rookie minicamp roster, they got insane size of guys who are not going to make this football team. Braden Peam from BYU, I hope I'm saying that right, 6'8". Trapillo, 6'8". Emmett Bowl, 6'6", Arizona State offensive lineman. Theo Benedict, remember him last year? British Columbia, 6'7". That's 4 offensive linemen, 6'6" or greater. And then you've also got a 6'6" Xavier Carlton, who is another rookie. This guy's a D lineman out of Cal. So I don't know. Maybe the Bears have figured out that you wanted to have a basketball team as a football team. That's all going to work out, and this is the new way to go about your business.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I don't. At the end of the day, Carmen, I don't care how big they are. Can one of them be the starting left tackle?
Sure. Can you do the job?
Is that fair?
Yes, that's completely fair. Can you or can you not? That would be.
Yeah, I do want to know before we get out of here. We need your full breakdown on I don't know, whoever that center was from Tulane that you broke down on the show the other day.
Oh yeah, no, I mean that dude was incredible today. You're talking about my guy. What's that?
You can't even remember his name, can you?
No, Vincent Murphy. My guy. Vincent Murphy,
Mhm.
6'2" out of Tulane. You know what? Let me just say this about Vincent. I only saw him a couple times today. What I did see, I really liked. But if it's okay with you, Hogue, as we wrap up Carmen Sense here and prepare to bring Gregory P. Allen Braggs into the show, I'd like to have the weekend to truly give you my full breakdown of Vincent before.
That's fair. You're definitely not stalling because you never even found him on the practice field today. You just want to give him the full respect of 3 practices
right
before you make a conclusion.
Yeah, and I should probably hold this for snidbits and shoutouts, but it feels like appropriate right now. The only guy that I had a problem with today is I don't know who Matthew Downing thinks he is, but he's a quarterback from Elon, and he's wearing 17. And maybe Downing, doesn't know about Tyson Bagent the way he needs to know about Tyson Bagent, but he's going to know about Tyson Bagent. Who does this rookie minicamp invite Matthew Downing think he is out of Elon coming in here and wearing 17? What's up with that, Downing? I'm going to try to get in front of him this weekend, too.
Okay. We got to stop talking about numbers. Rookie minicamp. There's not enough numbers. People, he's a tryout player. He needs to wear a number.
Yeah, well, the quarterback wearing 17, that just, we can't have that, Hogue. I know that what you're saying is making sense, but Downing, he crossed the line with that one. But we shall move on. Braggs is coming up. I'm excited.
We also have a shirt drop coming up in just a couple minutes. Don't go anywhere.
This is super exciting, and we have to get into this one too, which I think could be the best moment in the history of the show. But first, as we wrap up Carmen Sense, shout out to our friends at rate.com. If you ever tried to buy a home, get a loan, or just deal with the money stuff in general, you know it can be a lot. And let me tell you, I was on the phone with Billy Schaefer today, and it is a lot. But hey, that's why we got to tell you about the Rate app. Billy, of course, a part of the Rate community, working with me on this home purchase that I'm doing. The Rate app and Billy, all of it, seriously, a game changer. You get pre-approved for a mortgage in minutes. And then if you want to get a home equity loan or a personal loan, something else, elsewhere, you can secure one of those in under 15 days. Rate Up will also help you find the best homeowners and auto insurance one-stop shop for everything. But here is the part for you. If you're not buying a house or you need a loan, you don't need any of that to benefit from the Rate App because they've got 800 free wellness videos that I used last night, meditating in my bed at 1:30. Then all of a sudden I'm like, I can't handle that. Let me just get some serious, nice, relaxing sleep stuff here. They got that on there too. Breathing exercises, stretching, everything you need to feel better mentally and physically. Let the Rate app handle it. And yeah, it is going to make your life better in all the ways. Download the Rate app today to get started.
And I might be wearing long underwear today on May 9th, but summer will be here before you know it. I promise. In fact, I have a feeling your air conditioners are going to be running by the end of the weekend. Based on the forecast. And the question is your home's air conditioning up for the challenge? If you're worried about it at all, or even if you're not, you should call Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. They've been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years, and now is the time to get your AC checked out. Four Seasons experts are ready to help you with AC installation, maintenance, and repair. Last year was officially Chicago's hottest year on record. And when it's hot and humid, you want to know that your home will be cool and comfortable. So Four Seasons expert technicians, they're going to come out and ensure that you always receive reliable service. They're not going to charge you more. This is big. They're not going to charge you more for service during nights, weekends, and holidays like most do. So make sure you call Four Seasons right now. Schedule your Four Seasons AC tune-up today. You could save $50 and enjoy a 1-year no breakdown guarantee. And see, again, Four Seasons is your trusted local experts. Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. All right. We now bring in the always beautiful and adorable, as I just turned into Carm, Greg Braggs, as we have morphed I don't know. He's the one with his hair done nicely, and I'm the one wearing a hat. It's a confusing Friday, is what it is.
Did you get
Hello,
highlights?
No, this is just how my hair always looks. I just you don't see it. I wear a
You
hat.
do look like Guy Fieri right now.
Do I?
It's something with your
I've
lighting.
been called Fat Tim Tebow before.
What? Okay, well, not by us.
I
That's not
have.
where my-
Yeah, no, not by you guys.
Fat Tebow is spot on accurate, with all due respect to your fatness.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are.
Speaking of
compliment,
Tebow, we have a T-shirt.
We do.
Yeah.
Speaking of Tebow.
Speaking of Tebow, I don't
Well,
know.
because wasn't he? I
I
don't
don't
know,
think
you're
he's
right.
Catholic.
Big religious guy. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, but he's not Catholic.
Okay, whatever.
He
Just,
isn't?
At least I don't think he
just shout out the shirt.
Let us Catholics have our moment, please, for one time. I don't know. Anyway, we do have a new shirt. It has dropped. It is, let me get the exact wording on this one. The CHGO Sweet Pope Chicago tee. It is up at allchgo.com. This is real, guys. I promise. You can actually order this right now. Allchgo.com. Go to the merch locker. And if you're a diehard, you get 20% off. Or if you want to become a diehard, you want that to be your first CHGO t-shirt. There it is for you.
That's amazing. Shout out to the merch team, swinging into action. Let's take advantage of this moment. Shout out to the Pope. This guy's huge. I love this guy, and I have some deep thoughts about this coming up later in the show as well. But
Yeah,
I'm in. I'm gonna buy that
Okay.
one for myself.
Real quick, because we're gonna get Braggs in here. He's been following everything from afar today. He's gonna give his best and worst and all that as he freezes on the screen right now. I do have to say this, Carm. You and I were together yesterday at a very awesome shout out to Barrett Sports Media Summit. We did not have a live show yesterday. By about 2:00, I really wish we had a live show yesterday. I think we would have been on the air when the Pope news came out.
I don't know.
Is that right?
I think we would have been.
That's a blow. Could have been. I mean, we're always looking for opportunities to be there when the action's happening, but we did miss the Pope action yesterday. And
Well, it was an all-time day in Chicago. It might have been the greatest day in Chicago social media history. And later on in the show, I'm going to share my favorite Pope tweets that I ended up bookmarking by the end of the night. I have a whole folder full of them. I'm very excited about it. So stay tuned for that at the end of the show.
It was an elite. It was an elite Chicago day. There's no question about that.
All right, we're going to get Braggs' best and worst right now. I'm going to actually make a request, Greg. Will you please do your worst? Because I think it might be related here. So go ahead and do your worst.
Yeah, my worst is Hogue's hat. It's by a landslide. I get it's a Sox hat, but it looks stupid. And as somebody that is big on hats, I don't like it. I don't know how anybody else feels about it, but I hate it. Stupid hat. So he gets worst for me for the day.
Okay. One, this is not a Sox hat. It is a St.
not?
Paul Saints hat, which in honor of the Pope, I wore my Saints hat.
Doesn't it kind of
Actually-
look like it does kind of look like a Sox hat though, a little bit. But now I see it. The way you look down. All right.
It's an
fine.
S and a T and a P, which does not spell SOX in any way. But yeah,
It's
I
fine.
thought I finally had. It's one of the coolest logos I think that exists in minor league baseball. I don't get a good opportunity to wear this hat very often. So let me just wear it for one damn day.
All right. I'm
God,
sorry.
Carm's got problems with my underwear. Greg's coming at me for my hat.
It's a rough day for you, but
When-
you know,
You know what? Danny Marcano from the Chicago Bears gave me a nice compliment on how I look today. So shout out to Danny. You guys are both assholes.
is it
Yeah.
Marcano or Marquino?
Marcano.
It's
Marcano.
Wait a not. Yeah. Don't worry. I only learned that like a month ago and I was embarrassed.
Mm.
All right. That's my
That's-
bad on the hat. Yeah. So just to, I'm going to run through these here real quick. My best is Eric Benemy and the coaches getting loud. I saw a few different videos, some of ours and some going around that you could definitely hear Eric Benemy getting into it. He's one of the top coaches I'm most excited to see here once we get into training camp. And then my top 3 takeaways, like I said, I'm going to go through it because I know we got some other things to get to, and we're going to get out of here in a little bit. But my biggest takeaway listening to these guys speak was just how bright Azie Trapilo is. He is fun to listen to, man. I'm falling in love early on with this guy. And just thinking about him saying, playing left tackle as opposed to right tackle, now he can learn directly from Dan Roshar and not have to try to get old habits out and learn new ones because he's playing on the left side versus the right side. I like that. And when you think about getting to play next to Joe Tooney, who not only is going to give him the tricks of the trade just playing on the left side of the line, but a guy that was playing tackle last year in the Super Bowl, he's going to have a lot of different advice for him. I just think that that's a great pairing. And so that leads into my second takeaway, which is, you guys said it earlier. Ben Johnson said, can't climb the depth chart until you put pads on. First person I thought of was Braxton Jones. I get he's the starter and they're going to keep things how it is. But at the same time, you look at Azie Trapilo, how smart this guy is, how big this guy is. I'm still kind of pushing my chips all in that I think he's going to be the starting left tackle. It's going to be hard for Braxton Jones to move up that depth chart until he's able to put the pads on. And if he's still limited when he goes into camp, I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but that was the first thing I thought when I heard that. I'm like, oh boy, that's going to make things hard on Braxton. Then my third, obviously, all the talk is about the number with Luther Burden. No, he can't get number 3. That belongs to Bronco Nagurski. That's a story for another day about how many retired numbers the Bears have. But he did mention that Randy Moss and Julio Jones were his 2 favorite wide receivers. So we got 2 guys that can give up their numbers. Case Keenum is number 11. You can give that up. That was Julio Jones's. And Steven Carlson, number 88, the Randy Moss jersey. So there's 2 guys right there that need to do the right thing. Let's get the rookie his number so he can feel good in it. And there's my 3 top takeaways for the day.
All right. I'm going to great stuff there, Greg. I'm going to really hammer home one of your best, and I'm going to quibble with one of the other takeaways you had.
Okay.
But second on my notes here, and by the way, Carm didn't think I could get a whole page of notes from rookie minicamp in one day, and he was wrong. It almost overflowed on page
Moss
2.
was 84. Moss was 84. I apologize. I'll have to look that up.
I thought when you said 88, something visually in my head didn't connect there, but I didn't pull 84 right away, and that's bad by me too.
Yeah, everyone's freaking out. It's awful by me. Let me look up who 84 is. Stand by.
In the meantime, second on my notes, Eric Benemy is very noticeable. Word for word what I wrote. You could hear him, you could see him really coaching up those running backs. I think they only had 3 running backs even out there, right?
Damn it. Loveland is 84. Forget it. Burden, you're screwed.
That's why he's saying. He's like, I'm stuck with 87. What am I supposed to do?
87's a great number. Put it on and wear it proudly.
I agree with you. Own 87. You could be, the Bears will retire it in 3 years.
Yeah. Luther Burden has a great chance to go down as the Bears' all-time leading wide receiver. As does Rome Odunze, as does DJ Moore, as does anyone. Please put Johnny Morris to bed.
I am getting old. Randy Moss, 88. What am I thinking? Anyway, going back to Eric Benemy. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad to hear it, Hogue, because this is like my number 1 coach I'm looking forward to seeing at training camp.
And the thing I was going to quibble with a little bit is I actually heard that comment from Ben Johnson about you can't move up the depth chart until you put pads on is actually a good thing for Braxton Jones, because he was essentially, the way I heard that was, you can't really move up or down until the pads go on. And by the time the pads do go on in late July, early August, Braxton Jones supposedly, hopefully, will be back. So I heard that as you're not going to lose your starting spot while nothing's really happening here. And so if anything, I kind of heard that the opposite way.
Yeah, maybe I'm projecting because I'm certainly rooting for Azie at this point. No disrespect to Braxton. Maybe it is disrespect to Braxton. But at the same time, Ben Johnson said at the owners meeting he will be limited going into training camp. So how long he's limited, I think, is going to be an issue. And as we get deeper into the spring and the next 6 weeks, as Ben Johnson said, in OTAs and the practices start to pick up a little more intensity, I don't know. I just have a feeling this is going to be a real good competition to watch when we get to training camp at the very least.
Well, since we're making this a whole number show, 75 for Trapillo is a great choice. Him and Kyle Long, let's go. Kyle Long, obviously had an instant impact here. Maybe Trapillo can do the same thing. I think we've mentioned Kyle before with the 75 comparison. But look, we go roundabout on this a bunch now, but I still think that Braxton Jones is going to be your starting tackle day one. Because I think that I'm betting on him getting healthy based on the fact that I just think he'll work his ass off to get there, contract year, all the things for him. But you do feel a whole lot better with the depth, or however this turns out, the more you start to get to know Ozzy Trapilo.
Yep. All right. Let's get to Luther Burden. It was the headline on our show today. And I is probably the most notable quote of the day. We've kind of buried it a little bit here in the show, but Luther Burden, not surprisingly, I think, my read on that first night and that conference call I had with Bears reporters where he didn't sound terribly excited that he just got drafted into the NFL was a clear sign that he was not feeling great about the fact that he slipped to the second round. I thought by the next day when he came into Halas Hall, he kind of lightened up a little bit. And actually, I thought he was very pleasant today and interesting to talk to after his first practice. And I thought he looked pretty good today, too. That's another one of my observations in my notebook, which I'll empty the rest of that notebook here momentarily. But he was asked about carrying a chip on his shoulder. Did you let go? Good question by Chris Emmett. Did you let go of that after the draft weekend, or is that something you're still going to hold with you? This is what he said.
That you leave behind on draft weekend, or is that something you're carrying with you here?
No, that's staying with me forever. So everybody who passed upon me got to pay.
For your jersey number, why number 87?
I mean, it's all the good numbers gone. So.
It's a little bonus on the number issue there too, which I feel like we're not done with, but you heard it right there. Everybody who passed on him's got to pay. I love it. I mean, I go get it. Channel that energy the right way. I think it's going to be interesting to see how many targets he can actually get, given he's a rookie and there's a lot of mouths to feed, but I love that mentality from Luther Burden.
So I mentioned this about probably 189 times on the show, and that is that I used to work at Kansas City. So that is that to bring that into this conversation. I got a lot of friends who root for the Missouri Tigers. I got a lot of friends reaching out to me, super excited about Luther Burden. Like they loved watching him at Mizzou. And, I'm asking the questions like, what is he like off the field? He's like, well, there's, he can be a lot. It can go sideways. But when he's going right, it's phenomenal. He's a hell of a football player. So Luther has got the biggest boom or bust capabilities here, potential, I would say, for the Bears. Like Luther, if he really hits and connects with Caleb, who knows how many yards he can get, albeit in a crowded wide receiver room. And if it goes the other way, that he's not getting the football and he's complaining with a new coaching staff trying to do things the right way, which was also brought up today, that, hey, you better be blocking when you're not getting the football. It could go way sideways, too, at the same time. So he's going to be somebody very interesting to watch and see how this thing develops because of the high ceiling that he has.
Well, it's about coaching, right? I mean, when you look at Jamison Williams, we continue to bring him up. He brought him up today as somebody that he talks to, a guy that crossed paths in high school. And so to me, it comes down to coaching. You got Antoine Randall there as assistant head coach, obviously Ben Johnson. And that was the other takeaway I had, when you heard Colson Loveland talking about tough coaching today. He said, what did he say? Ben gets in our butts is what he said, which I thought was funny. The phrasing is everything, but I still like to hear a coach is, going to be a little more hardline. That's what these guys are going to respond to. And so I think, if you compare a guy like Anthony Miller, when he came here, boom or bust, right? He was a second round pick, I believe. And he had trouble. His first year he boomed, but then after that it went bust. And he's still in the league, which speaks to his talent. But his problem was route discipline, or at least that was what was reported on. With Luther, we don't know if there's going to be any warts or hurdles along the road, but it's going to be interesting to see his talent. I'm excited. He's got a chip on his shoulder. If you look at Amon-Ra St. Brown, same kind of thing. Guys like that use that fuel to their fire. So I'm all for it.
Anthony Miller, for the record, was out of the league from 21 to 24, but he did get in a couple games last year with Baltimore.
He was running routes for the Ravens in the playoffs.
Yeah, you're right. He was a second-round pick, 51st overall, just for if anybody wants to double-check that work.
Greg, do we have some diehard questions before we get out of here? And I know you still got supers.
Yeah, we got a couple here from our one and only Gary Ross. He wants to know, how did Newman look snapping the ball? And if he can develop quickly, does he challenge Bates for the center guard spot on the roster?
Carm, I know you were breaking down all of Luke Newman's snaps today, so I'll let you handle that.
Yeah, Newman. Gary, I love you. I'm not gonna lie to you. I have no idea.
Tomorrow, that's your assignment for tomorrow.
I'll watch Newman tomorrow and not think about Seinfeld. And
you're gonna lock in, okay?
Lock in on the snaps.
He's gonna be a good Newman. The Ryan Bates thing, that shoulder arthritis, the whole thing. I think Newman's got a great chance. That's the best we can do for you, Gary. But you already knew that.
Well, there might be room for both of them on the roster. That's the only thing I would say. But
what about the 8 other offensive linemen that Bragg signed to be backups?
If Ryan Bates is healthy, I think Ryan Bates is probably on the roster. But it's still early. All right, what's the next question?
Very early. All right, back to the numbers game here today. That should have been the name of the show, numbers game. Why is 87 a bad number? Is there some superstition there? No, I just think I'll take this one. I just think it's like it's a heavy number. It's a heavy number. So you got to be like a bigger guy. You got to be a possession receiver type. But when you're a speedster, you want one of those single digit. You need a skinny number. And I seen Gary brought up number 13 in his super chat here, Steven. I know that was one of the super chats here. From today, he said, why didn't the Bears just reassign Mo Alexander or a different number and give Luther Burden 13? They gave Loveland Boykins 84 and gave Murray 80 and just give Murray 87 to LB3 or whatever.
Sounds like Gary's going after
Mo Alexander.
Well, but he's calling out Tony Medlin. This is a Tony Medlin call out.
This is a Tony Medlin thing, yeah.
So, look, I think here's part of the problem with 87. You look up like the greatest players to wear 87, and you think about Travis Kelce,
Dwight Clark.
Heavy numbers.
It's a heavy tight end number is one way I would put it. Now, I'll give you one exception, though. Reggie Wayne wore 87.
There you go.
Pretty damn good player. Jordy Nelson, let's not talk about him. And Gronk wore 87 too. So there's another tight end. I think that's kind of the problem with it.
Emory
I don't
Moorhead.
I mentioned him earlier in the show. That's your tight end on the Bears Super Bowl championship team. He caught footballs. Emory's a great man. Love him.
And I get Tommy Waddle was 87, but again, we're talking about speedsters.
I think it's an opportunity. Your only competition as a wide receiver who wore 87 is Reggie Wayne. Make it your own.
Redefine the number 87. Yeah. I'm not feeling it either. Neither is Luther. Let's get him to 13 before camp gets here. Don't go out and buy your 87s yet. Yeah. I would wait until
Do we have this Potsy tweet ready too? Or is that just in my rundown? Or do we actually have a graphic for it?
It's in the rundown. I can make it here for you, Steven, unless you got it.
Well, it's not that important. I just didn't know if we had it ready because it's here. I take that back. It's very important.
It's super important. It's our guy.
All right. Potsy tweeted Bears open rookie minicamp at Halas today. Details could be a bit sketchy, and he's laying in his hammock at home with his dog holding his reporter's notebook.
Potsy,
Yeah.
I'm taking credit for this because I did throw it in our rundown. I just want to let you know that not just today, but every day that you're not there, you're missed, buddy. We and by the way, you look good in that hammock. That's a nice job by you.
I mean, I'm pretty sure if Mark shows up to Halas Hall, they're gonna let him in. Like, so just go to Halas Hall. Unless he didn't want to. I mean, all right. If not, then me and Mark need to start doing some like fishing content while you guys are at minicamp and OTAs. I think that would be elite. I think I'm onto something there.
I also would like to, look, we miss Potsy. I think they should let him in. I need him in there just so I can stand by him at practice and be entertained. We do need to issue a CHGO correction, though, from a few minutes ago. Colson Loveland did not say that Ben Johnson gets in people's butts. I just want to get the actual quote correct.
Well, he said that first, and then he corrected it.
He said, I've seen him getting on butts. Seen him getting on people's butts.
Oh, I'm sorry, not on people's butts. That is words are important.
There is a slight difference there, or perhaps even a major difference.
Just like this hat is not a Sox hat. It says STP, not SOX. Although this would be better than the weird, whatever jerseys they're wearing on Friday nights.
I'll still stand by it that it kind of looks like an SOX, but whatever. I see it now.
We'd like to personally apologize, all of us, to the Loveland family and the Bears for that word association poorly done. These things happen. It's Friday. Have a great weekend. We're with you all weekend, by the way. Saturday, 2:00 show. Let's go.
Special Saturday show coming your way tomorrow, because we love you, and there's a rookie mini camp practice. We're not going to be with you on Mother's Day because it's Mother's Day, and we'd like to keep our mothers around. But we'll be back Monday. I believe you have one super and one birthday shout out, if I'm correct. Jacob Stout. Yesterday was my birthday. 41, baby. Love the show. Time for work. Thank you, Jacob. Hope you didn't leave for work already, but here's your birthday shout out. Happy birthday.
Jacob, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jacob. I think you're a diehard because you're so stout and beautiful. Happy birthday to you.
We did Gary's super chat?
Yep, we did it.
Oh, must have blacked out.
I just read it. It was about the number 87.
Was that when I was looking up the other 87s?
Yeah.
Couple other shout outs before we get out of here. One, Jason Barrett holds Barrett Sports Media Summit that Hogue mentioned earlier in the show. He hosted myself and Adam and Jake Flanagan and Kevin Kaduk and Chris Panko and Jim Cook. CHGO very well represented there. I think we all learned a lot, had a good time, networking the whole thing. So shout out to Jason, who's doing a lot of work in a bringing media together space that I don't think anyone's ever done. So it's a hell of an effort by him.
No, I'm glad you brought that up because, as long as we've been in this business, there's always stuff you can learn. I know I definitely learned some things yesterday. I did want to quibble with one thing that one of the big takeaways from the session that our friend David Kaplan was in. He very colorfully shared some advice that he got from a program director that, quote, nobody cares about the effing swing tackle, which I wrote down in my notebook. And my initial reaction to hearing that was obviously Cap has never met Gary Ross.
No.
I mean,
a lot
of our listeners care about the effing swing tackle.
Yeah, for real. I mean, you know how many messages I'm going to get for messing up that Randy Moss number? The other day when I said Grady Jarrett was 34 and he's 32, I was getting some pretty hostile messages towards me. So you got to get it right here. And whoever
only two of those were from me.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So go ahead, Carm.
No, I was just going to say that details sometimes are not your thing, and
No, they're not.
people need to chill out.
But you know what his thing is? It's connecting with the diehards, and you should become a diehard. Go to allchgo.com/diehard. 20% off all merch. Scan that QR code. Become a diehard. 20% off our events. Got a golf outing coming out. You can save some money on. And we got our new Pope shirt, which you should be ordering. You should have already ordered it, quite frankly. If you haven't ordered it in the last 30 minutes, there's something wrong with you. CHGO Diehards, you get 20% off, or if you become one now, you can get that now. It's our CHGO, what are we calling it? Super Pope shirt or
The Pope shirt,
Pope.
maybe.
Well,
we
are. I know, Carm, you want to leave, but we cannot end this show without me. I need to get this out of my system because yesterday was one of the more enjoyable days I've had on an app that I've had a love-hate relationship with lately. I thought it was a great day. I loved it. I saved a whole bunch of tweets. I'd just like to share some of those. But I first would like to ask Greg about his baseball team and if he's worried at all that the Cubs now have a new curse because they tried to claim the Pope as a Cubs fan when he's not. He's a White Sox fan.
Mm-hmm.
And I would be worried. I'd be very, very worried. I mean, this guy, there's a picture of him at the World Series calling God, asking for a Paul Konerko grand slam, and he got it. So we know he has this power. I would be worried if I were you.
Well, there's a couple things there. I'm more worried about whether or not he's a Bears fan, and we're gonna have to get to the bottom line of that, because that's going to be a big one for us here going forward. And number two, respect the dibs. Dibs is a big thing in Chicago, and we called dibs before the Sox fans did. When it first
you
came
don't get to
out,
call dibs when it's his decision.
We called dibs on the Pope. Okay, we called dibs. And so once the dibs are established, you have to respect the dibs.
Okay, so you're saying if the Packers call dibs on them right now, they get them?
No, they don't get them. Packers fans don't get a say. This is a Chicago thing, okay? And dibs is a big thing in Chicago. And we claimed them first. You guys were all just sitting back. I didn't see anybody saying anything. And then all of a sudden, we're getting pictures out and all this other crap.
We're waiting for confirmation, actual journalism to figure out what was true.
Yeah, well, shout out to Kevin Wells because he was one of the first to put it out. And so I'm taking dibs. And yes, I just threw Kevin Wells under the bus.
Oh, did he say that he was a Cubs fan?
Well, no, he tweeted that ABC News or ABC 7 was reporting that he was a
That's
Cubs
why you cite your sources in case your sources are wrong.
Yes.
All right. Carmen loves Pope conversation.
Yeah, no, so. I love our shirt, and I love the fact that Portillo's has a Pope sandwich now, the Leo. I love that we're going back and forth Cubs Sox. I'm worried if he's a Bears fan. I actually did not get a question out to Ben Johnson today that I debated asking, which was, are you worried that the Pope is going to take some attention away from you? And really, you were the Pope until we got the Pope, and now you're not the Pope, and you're just Ben Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, if there was Vegas odds on who was going to ask the Pope question to Ben Johnson today, you and Patrick Finley were certainly going to be some of the leaders in the clubhouse for it. So Patrick Finley, the odds-on favorite, got.
Oh, Finley, like runaway odds-on favorite, like minus 1,000.
Yeah, but it wasn't a good job. He messed up the Pope question.
Well, Ben wasn't having it. And by the way, by far the funniest moment of the press conference was the pivot off of that. Ben Johnson's not really taking the bait on the Pope question, and Brad Biggs just goes full on. So let's talk about the strong side linebacker competition.
Okay,
that was amazing. I enjoyed it. All right, here's some of my favorite tweets from yesterday. Jared Cook, the first Pope to have saved big money at Menards.
That was one of my favorites as well.
Good. Our friend and leader Caleb Williams tweeting last night. Duh, Pope.
That was big.
Good job by him or his PR team or whoever told him to tweet that because that was well done. There were a couple good ones about. I think the better one was because NBC has so many Chicago shows, I should say. Josh Barrow tweeted Chicago Pope Tuesdays on NBC. Our friend Pete Blackburn from the great hockey show we have called What Chaos. The blood of Christ is now Malort. A lot of Malort. Tweets.
Let's take a Malort for the Pope this weekend.
Yep. Father Paul, I have a feeling he's not really a father, but if he is, I apologize. Leo the 14th is from the Midwest, which means he's actually the Ope.
Okay.
That's good. Come on. It's a little Wisconsin-y, but it still plays.
I mean, Mark, your buddy Ben Heisler from Kansas City.
Oh, that was the tweet of the day.
He had the tweet of the day. Did you see it, Mark?
I did not.
I knew that Mark, on one of the most epic Twitter days, had no idea what was going on. Your buddy Ben Heisler put up a video of the Pope coming out to the Bulls intro.
Oh, I saw that. I didn't know that Ben did it. That's amazing.
He's got 7.6 million views on that tweet.
Wow.
7.6 million.
Let's go, Ben.
You know, I'm not gonna lie, I had to take a couple swings, Braggs, but I did finally get one to go semi-viral by the end of the day.
I mean, anything we put up. I mean, if you pull up, if you pull it up this morning, if you pull it up, the smoke one. I made this tweet in the morning. Literally, it didn't matter. Anything Pope related was going off. And yes, this was the smoke that the Vatican put out this morning to signify the start of rookie minicamp was the tweet. And it just doesn't matter. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Pope content. You got to love it. And somebody did put on Twitter, they're like, this girl said, Chicagoans are going to be obnoxious for the next 36 hours. And then 4 hours later, she goes, I severely underestimated how long they're going to be obnoxious about this.
Oh, yeah.
Forever. It's never going to end.
The memes when the Bears are good, which is coming or not, I don't know. Another good one from NFL memes. Translated the did you guys see this? They translated his like opening remarks or prayer or whatever yesterday, which he was speaking in Italian.
Oh,
so they translated it to God bless you all. Except those who live in Green Bay, Wisconsin. You may have more Super Bowls, but F the Packers.
That's a good job.
Yeah. Who's the one that tweeted I just love knowing the fact there's a good chance that the Pope has taken a shot of Malort. Somebody tweeted that out. That was
maybe
good.
the Pope's listened to this show before. Can't completely rule it out.
No,
we have a lot of international Bears fans that this is their go-to place. All right, Jack Hansen's had enough of the Pope conversation. $5 super chat. Thinking about Luther Burden and DJ Moore in a dual back with Rome out wide and Cole and Colson on the line. Can't wait to see what Ben Johnson will cook up. All right, back to football.
Yep.
Colson's going to have to get in that weight room there, Jack Hansen. He looks slight.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on that. Let me just quickly empty my notebook. We can get out of here. Because he did say, I did ask him about strength and conditioning limitations. And basically he said his only limitations is like the amount of weight that he's pushing right now. And I tend to agree with you. So we'll see how much that sets him back a little bit in camp. But conditioning wise, I think he's okay. Because he, obviously can still use his legs and stuff. Shermar Turner wants to stay in the 290 to 295 range, under 300 pounds. That was made very clearly today. So that's something to watch from a weight perspective with him. I thought it was funny. Ben Johnson was asked about what was different about running practice today. He said he's never blown the whistle at practice. So that was new.
Great question by Carmen. Thank you very much.
That was a good question. And in answer to Brad Biggs getting, pulling a Jack Hansen and pulling us off the Pope conversation inside the press conference, the strong side linebacker competition is, quote, up for grabs, and Dennis Allen has a prototype, which makes you wonder, since they used that 4th round pick on our guy Ruben Hippolyte, if he has an upper hand on that spot. Because they wouldn't have drafted somebody that didn't fit that prototype.
That's fair.
Something to think about. All right. We good? Anything else?
Nope.
I just thought it was a great day today. Good to be on the field. Hogue, you brought your A game, both in your underwear, in your notebook, in the press conference, on your head.
With my hat.
With your hat. It was a great job. Gregory, congratulations on speaking at your junior high school that you failed out of and are now a journalism media superstar.
Yes, that was good. Shout out to the kids over at Taft Middle School. I had 2 crazy school stories today. I went to the gym this morning because my cat keeps waking me up at 4:15 in the morning. Nobody warned me that cats do this. They all were like, "Oh, cats are so that you don't have no maintenance. You just let them in your house. You don't have to take them out." And then they wake you up every day at 4:15 in the morning.
Can I give a follow-up question before you tell your story?
Yes, sir.
And then I have a follow-up question to your story too, because I already know what the story is. How does your cat wake you up?
Everything. It doesn't. He'll be scratching things he shouldn't scratch. Then he jumps on you, and then he's meowing. If you close the door, he meows even louder. It just doesn't matter. And if you yell at him, there's nothing. He doesn't. He just looks at you.
He's meowing.
Yeah, he doesn't like. If you yell,
You're surprised the cat meows?
When you yell at a dog, they like respond emotionally. A cat just gives you this death stare, and there's just nothing.
Cats own you.
Do. And then you research like, how do you yell at a cat? And it's like, don't. You encourage it. Like, get out of here. That's not how I operate.
I used to have a cat named Rusty who he did something similar, but he wouldn't make any noise. He would just come sit on my chest and stare at me until I woke up. Because he wants his food. He just wants his food. Do you have a gravity feeder? Do you know what a gravity feeder is?
No.
Get him a gravity feeder. It keeps a constant amount of dry food sitting there for him. So instead of waking you up, he'll just go get a snack and he'll go back to sleep like cats do. They sleep a lot.
Okay. All right. Well, luckily he doesn't bite me. He only bites Jenny. It's really funny. He like grabs her by her feet and bites her and he picks on her as Jenny walks by. He'll like just jump at her and give her a quick little nibble, but he doesn't do that to me. So shout out to the cat. But he is motivating me to get to the gym. And that was the second part of my school story today. It was a crazy school day for me. Walk into the gym and my former principal, Mr. Pettit, takes his earbuds off. And this is a guy that suspended me from school, kicked me out of class. I had to take lunch detention half a year for him in 7th grade. I
like this guy. Yeah.
He was great. And we were always cool. Even through all the ups and downs of my behavioral issues. He always understood that school just wasn't for me. He takes his earbuds off and says, "Hey, I'm listening to you and your podcast right now," which was crazy to me to even think about. So shout out to Mr. Pettit. That's it. That's all I got today.
That was a cool story. I saw it on Twitter this morning. Shout out to Mr. Pettit. I might need to get some advice from him.
We all do.
I have a follow-up question on that though, because you were at the gym and you had 2 long tweets about this interaction, which I enjoyed the story. But where were you when you tweeted this? Because if you were taking up a machine while you were on your phone tweeting all that, I'm going to be mad.
No, rehabbing my knee, I get on the bike,
okay. So you can multitask.
Yeah, multitasking. So working up a little bit of sweat, getting the knee going. I had physical therapy later in the morning. So yeah, I fired it off. It was one of those full circle things. So I was just very self-reflective after that because it's humbling to know that my principal, he's a fan of the show. And that's somebody who did everything he could to help me through school, even though I wasn't helping myself at the time. But everybody finds their way in life if you just apply yourself. So
it's a great way to end the show. Apply yourself, and I'm going to go do that. Don't forget Grace Carmen in a big soccer game today in the city's playoffs. We got to go. We'll be back here tomorrow at 2.
2 o'clock show tomorrow after rookie mini camp again, day 2. Looking forward to it. Shout out to the St. Paul Saints. Shout out to the Catholics everywhere, and shout out to our very own Pope Bob. Talk to you tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.